Selling your home is one of those things that you're only going to do a couple times throughout your life, and it's just super important to make sure that you make the right decisions when it comes time to actually sell your property. The reason for that is because it is going to have such a big impact on your financial situation, so you want to make sure you're making the right decisions. Now, there's a few different ways you can go about selling your home, and today we are going to be focusing on the selling as is situation. And basically what that means is selling your house in the condition that it currently sits without doing any sort of work or renovations to it to make it appeal to more people, just so that way you have an easier transaction for yourself, and that way you don't have to do as much work. My name is Sam Oler, and I'm a realtor in the greater Cleveland area, and I help a lot of people every year move over this way and sell their homes as well. So if you're starting to think about doing so, make sure you reach out to me. All of my contact info is down in the description, but we need to stay on track with today's topic, which is selling your home in as-is condition and the pros and cons that come along with it. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you are in the preliminary stages of selling your home, and you're wondering what will happen if you decide not to make those repairs and sell it in as-is condition. Maybe you have some unfinished projects, or maintenance was kind of a nuisance over the years and you just have a little bit of deferred maintenance that you didn't get a chance to keep up with, and that is not a problem. Sometimes your work-life balance doesn't give you enough time to keep an eye on your home and keep up with the regular maintenance that is needed, or maybe you haven't been able to keep up with the home due to financial reasons. I get it, sometimes life hits harder than you expect and things happen. If you do find yourself in this position where you need to sell and you don't have the ability to put money into it and you need to sell it as is, it can be incredibly stressful for yourself and maybe even your family, with how the economy is shifting, making it harder for everyone to save money. But there's always a way around certain situations if you start to get creative. Me personally, I'm going to present you with all of the different options that are available to you. If you want to sell it in as-is condition, I can give you an idea of what that will look like. If you want to put a little bit of money into the home before you decide to sell it and potentially get some more for it on the back end when you sell, I'm also going to be able to give you an idea of what that looks like. I am an investor as well, and if you don't want to bring your home to the market for everyone to see, we have options where you don't have to list it and we can close fast on your property, getting that cash in your pocket. But that's only if that option fits your situation best. So like I said, reach out to me. I'll be able to point you in the right direction for what option fits you best, and we'll start to put a plan together so that way you can accomplish your goal of selling your home. So let's start with the pros of selling your home as is. The first one on the list is going to be that it saves you a lot of time. You're not going to have to waste any time doing repairs. There's not going to be any sort of renovation holding you months back, so you're going to have that faster timeline of getting the house on the market and sold. Now, a lot of the time, houses that are as is are going to attract cash buyers or investors, and the majority of the time, those people can close within 10 to 14 days, which is also going to add to that streamlined process. Really, in those situations, it's depending on how fast the title company can do their title search and get that completed, so that way the buyer is aware that they are getting a clean title for the house. And realistically, title companies can finish that as fast as 7 days, but it's always good for them to have that extra 7-day buffer. And if you really want to be safe, you can give it a 3-week closing time, which is still faster than your average 30 to 45 days for finances to do all of their review and go through the appraisal process and all of that. By going with a cash offer, it is going to make this process a lot faster. Number 2 on the pro list is going to be that it reduces costs for you. By listing your home as is, you're able to avoid the costs for renovations and repairs. You're not going to have to worry about hiring the right person to do these repairs, making sure they show up, and potentially giving them a down payment and them flaking on you. It is a safer bet in that situation because time is money. If you get held up and you start wasting money, you're going to lose more money. Not to mention, if you decide to dive into, say, a kitchen remodel, that is going to be a very substantial cost for that repair. Kitchens can cost upwards of $10,000 to replace. If you have to replace a roof, that can be upwards of $10,000 or even more. New flooring is going to run you $5 to $10 a square foot installed. Replacing appliances or mechanical units in the home are also going to be in the thousands of dollars as far as the cost goes. So not having to come up with that money is going to reduce the stress load ultimately on you, and that's realistically going to make it feel like a smoother process. Number 3 on the pros list of selling your home as is going to be that it simplifies the process. Our goal when we sell your home is to make this process as stress-free as possible for you. And realistically, the only thing that you're going to have to worry about during this, if you are working with a cash buyer, is that you only have to wait for the title work to be done and give that clear title to the buyer. You're not going to have to worry about someone being picky during inspections and asking for additional money off. While the home is under contract with cash buyers, a lot of the time they already know what they're getting into and they have a rough budget for what everything's going to cost. They might still have an inspector or a contractor walk through, just to confirm that. But the majority of the time, as long as you pick a good buyer, they're going to be pretty spot on with what they're expecting because they have experience doing this sort of thing. Number 4 on the pro list is going to be the fact that it is going to be an investor or a cash buyer. These buyers are not going to judge you based on the condition of the home because they see this kind of stuff every single day, and they're simply here to help you accomplish your goal, which is selling your home. The 5th and final pro to selling your home as is the fact that you aren't going to have to worry about any renegotiations after inspections. A lot of the time, these types of deals are going to come with no inspection period written into that purchase agreement, and the ones that do are usually just looking for a confirmation from their contractor, like I said a little bit earlier in this video. If you're working with a buyer who needs to get financed on the retail market, chances are they're not going to have as thorough of a walkthrough the first time they see the home as an investor would. So when the inspection period comes for that retail buyer, they're going to be asking you for money off, or they're going to be asking you for repairs to get made. And you don't want to encounter that. It's just going to be another hiccup in the buying process. So that kind of concludes the pros to selling your home. Overall, it's going to save you a lot of money for having to invest into just to take that back out when you go to sell it. But let's go over some of the biggest cons to selling your home as is. And the first one is the fact that you are probably going to have a lower sales price because it's not going to appeal to as many people as it would if it were in a condition where someone could just move in and start living right away. When I analyze the value of houses for my clients, I come up with a range. So there's going to be a low range for the condition that it's in, and if you were just to list it as is with nothing happening. And then I'll also give you a high range if you were to do some paint and floors and maybe some minor renovations, so that way you can get the higher value for your home. But I'll be able to help you come up with an idea of what it looks like based off of a budget that you would put into it versus the return that you would sell it for. So that way you at least know what you're getting into. If you want to get that maximum sales price for your home, it's worth doing some of those renovations because it's going to appeal to a lot more people. And with the ease of being able to move right in and not having to do any work, you're going to get that higher price. That kind of relays me into con number 2, which is going to be the fact that you are limiting your buyer pool by selling as is. The majority of the people who are shopping on today's market are looking for that home that they can move right into and do minimal work to. Most of the people that I work with on the buy side around here are okay with moving into something that needs a little bit of work, but the majority of them do not want something that is a full renovation or something that has a lot of deferred maintenance. They want to make sure that they have minimal effort that they have to put into it, essentially. When you have to move into a home and then also live through a renovation on top of it, it's just a really stressful situation that buyers do not want to get put into. And I personally see where they're coming from because in one of my first homes that I bought, I lived in it during a renovation and I didn't have a kitchen or bedrooms for months. My office, my kitchen, and my living room were in a 14 by 10 room and it just did not work. It was a pain in the butt. I would have much rather finished the renovation before I moved into the house, but my situation didn't allow for it. And personally, I don't think I'm ever going to do something like that again. It was always a dusty mess. My dogs couldn't run around the house. It's just not a great situation for a homeowner. Number 3, as far as the cons go, is that it's probably going to take longer to sell if you do not have it priced right. If you want to get the most amount of money for your home and you price it too high and list it on the market, people nowadays are pretty savvy. It's not hard to look up the value of a home and see what other good condition homes are selling for. So if you have it priced too high, people are not going to look at it. And they're also probably going to see you as a seller who is going to be difficult to work with because today's market just doesn't work the same as it used to, where you list your property at a high value and expect to get a low offer. A lot of what I'm seeing with my buyers is the fact that people are afraid to offer below list price because they don't want to insult the seller. So when you're listing your home for sale, the best thing to do is list it at market value. That way you drive that interest in the property itself. And if you work it right, you're going to be able to leverage those people against each other who are offering and drive the price up, getting you that higher sales price. Ultimately, the market is going to decide what you walk away with. You cannot make that decision for yourself or force it upon someone. So that is just something to keep in mind if you are going to sell as is. Number 4 on the list for selling your home as is the fact that people are going to think that it has an underlying issue with it. When you say your home is selling as is, the first thing that people think of is that there is something major wrong with the home. Even if the issues are relatively minor, people are going to see that as a red flag, resulting in less showings and less offers. Personally, if I see selling as is and the fact that the seller will not make any repairs, that's ultimately where my mind goes. So it's not just retail buyers, it's actual professionals in this industry as well. Selling on the retail market ultimately will have some sort of compromise throughout the process, with the buyer knowing that you're not going to make any repairs. they're probably going to come in with a lower offer, or during the inspection period, they're going to find something that was not anticipated and they're going to ask for additional money off. It's things that I see every single day, and it's just one of those things that are worth attacking head on, so that way you don't run into issues down the road while you're under contract. Number 5 on the list of cons for selling your home as is going to be the fact that there is probably going to be an inspection contingency during this time. And if you're not working with a seasoned investor, there's a chance that they miss something, and during that inspection period, they find something else and they're going to ask for additional money off. A lot of the times what I see with investors is that they try and save a buck, so they make it sound like they're going to give you a higher price for your home, but during that inspection contingency, they find something and decide to ask for even more money off. This, in my mind, is not the proper way to conduct the deal, but everyone has their own specific way they like to work, and not everyone sees eye to eye on how it should be. So by working with an inexperienced investor or a retail buyer, you're going to have potential delays and potential loss of money. If you can't come to an agreement during this inspection period, chances are you're going to lose the deal and have to put it back on the market for sale, which is going to lead to more time on the market and also a lower price as well. And keep in mind, people are not perfect, and that's the reason why inspection contingencies are in place, because if they're an investor, they're doing everything based off of financials, and they need to make sure that they are making a good investment. And if the money's not going to line up, they're not going to buy the house. So if you are working with someone who is experienced in this and they do make a mistake, at least be willing to work with them and see what comes of it. That way everyone is happy with the outcome of the deal. When you're selling your home, it's not you versus the buyers, it's you working with the buyers to ultimately accomplish your goal of selling the home. So you guys need to work as a team to get the deal done, so that way you get what you want and they get what they want, and it just works out for everyone. Now, if you're looking to sell your home as is, depending on what your situation is, it may not be the right fit for you. And that's why I want to be here when the time does come for you, so that way I know you are making the right decision. Because a lot of people are going to try to talk you into selling as is just so they can make a quick buck or have the easiest process. A lot of the times people don't have your best interest in mind, and I am one of those people who I like to give everyone all of their options and let them decide for what is best for their situation. Realistically, you're going to get the most money for your house selling on the market, but if you need a quick deal off market, that is also an option as well. It just has to fit your needs specifically. If you're looking to sell your home, do not hesitate to reach out to me. All of my contact information is down in the description. And while you're down there, if you are going to my other page, whether it be my social media or trying to reach out to me, make sure you click that like button and subscribe before you go, because it's going to keep you up to date with everything that's happening in the Cleveland area as far as real estate and life goes. So make sure you stay tuned. But with all that being said, I'm going to leave the video there. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.